Hello YouTube and welcome to my first video related to the My Little Pony Collectible Card game. My name is PhoenixRight7 and tonight we'll be looking at two deck profiles. Before I begin, a couple of notes. It's been several months since I've looked at this card game. I didn't really care for the last set. Played a couple games with it, built a few decks with it, but we've been sitting out for a while, so I just haven't done anything with it in a while. But I haven't done anything related to video gaming in general for a while. At least not really. I still haven't finished Zelda Breath of the Wild, just for a point of reference. But with the new set release, want I'm, I'm interested again in playing the game, building decks for it, and I've already built two. So I'm gonna take a look at them and hope you're interested. Now these decks aren't play tested at all. Um, I don't know how well they'll work. They might be competitive, probably not. They may not even be casual, or not. Well, they'll be casual, no doubt. But I mean, they may not be competent. So I like to think that I still have a decent idea of how to play the game and how to build decks, but who knows. Anyways, though, looking at the first card in our deck, DJ Pawn 3. I'll be calling her Vinyl from now on. For those that don't know, Vinyl allows you to draw a card when she's flipped, and she's really easy to flip. All you gotta do is draw 3 times, and because My Little Pony allows you to pay an action token to draw a card. This is an instant turn 2 flip if you're going first, or turn 1 flip and if you're going second in the majority of games. So she's really good. Anybody who's played any kind of card game knows that drawing is extremely important, and a free draw every turn. All you gotta do is exhaust her. No big deal. By the way, we're looking at 2 control decks tonight, so I don't even really worry about confronting with her. So next we'll be looking at problems. First up is 2 Firemen Ready. This card is here for one reason, and that is that when it's face up, nobody can play anything to it without replacing both problems. This deck doesn't run any Trollmakers, so it's a good way of sifting through the deck, or to the problem deck rather, and getting rid of any Trollmakers that are on the board. It might be a little weird to not run Trollmakers in a control deck, but this deck is not going to try to control through Trollmakers. That's what the next deck is for. The next problem is Mini Pants. There are 2 of them. It's one of my favorite pink problems. It's really simple. Flips, each player draws a card. Again, drawing is extremely important. And while most of the time you don't want your opponent to draw cards in most card games, I don't feel like it's that big a deal in MLP. It still is, but not as bad as Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. Or it's not as bad to let opponents draw cards. But the only downside to this card is the 5 confront requirement. In a control deck, if you're not wanting your opponent to confront problems, you want them to be as hard to confront as possible, and this one and my starting problem are really easy to confront. But I feel like this deck will probably want to confront its own problems more often than the other deck will. So it being easy to confront from my side is pretty cool. I don't know. This is untested. The prom deck could probably use some work, but we'll have to see when I get around testing it. The next prom is my starting prom, Deep Dark Forest. Now, I don't know how good prom is anymore. I know that a while back it used to give me a ton of trouble because I like to play a lot of control decks. A lot of control decks that run troublemakers. And Deep Dark Forest makes it so my opponent can't play troublemakers at this prom. Or in my case, make it so I can't either. So I'm running it again because I don't run trollmakers and I don't want my opponent to be using trollmakers on me either. At least I don't imagine I'm ever going to want them to do so. So it'll be kind of a nice card to have. Sorry, my Skype just rang out. Oops. The next problem is figuring out friendship, running 2 of it. It has 10 confront requirement for my opponent, which is excellent. 8 confront requirement for me, which it's not the best, but hey, I honestly need to confront problems in this deck either, as we'll see later. 0 bonus is always nice, at least if you're running a control deck. Because then if your opponent gets a face off, they're not going to gain much out of it. But when it flips, or no, when it's played, you may draw a card. Free draw, always fun. The next problem is 2, it's a secret Dairy Pony. It lowers the cost of the first friend I play to it every turn, which is pretty nice. I don't know how good it necessarily is, but because this is a pink-white deck, I don't have any way of really low gaining action tokens outside of 1 card, which I don't even think is that good. It might be fine though, who knows. But being able to lower the cost of my cards could be nice, at least my friends, which is going to be kind of important, as we'll see soon enough. Well, actually, no, not necessarily. I don't know. I'm going to have to fix up this deck before I test it. The next problem is 1 blackmail, 10 confront requirement, which is good. Like, for the same reason as figuring out friendship. And at the end of my opponent's turn, if no problems are confronted, I get to score a point. And I'm going to hopefully be able to control the board enough so that my opponent will never have resources to confront my problems and hopefully not even theirs. Now, I have a 46 draw deck. Not desirable, I have 45, but right now it is what it is. I'll have to fix things up at a later time. But I'm running 3 Snips and Snails problem solvers. Probably the game's best way of getting rid of draw makers. Exhaustion Retire to replace its problem. 2 cost, 3 power. It's a really powerful card. Then I'm running 2 Berry Punch All Night Partiers. It's a really good entry friend. I don't know if I need it in here though. I'm running it for now. I'll see. But when it's played, draw a card, and then when it confronts problem, I can exhaust it to draw a card. So free draw, good entry. May not be necessary in this deck. I may need to fix how I run entry to make it more similar to the next deck, which we'll see later. But let's roll a little bit. Okay. So next card is 2 Sonata Dusk Siren's Call. 1 power, 1 cost. It has Centric 2, which is nice, but isn't necessarily the reason why I'm running it. It may have uses, but it's immediate effect. Banish a card from my hand, which isn't really desirable, but we'll roll with it. And I retire this card to gain control of an opposing friend here until the end of the turn. So I'm going to be taking control of my opponent's friend with Sonata Dusk. And you'll see that you can if you know this new set, you can already see one card that also does the same thing, more or less. And but taking control of my opponent's friends till the end of the turn, or even till the end of the score phase, is really important in this deck, and you'll see why soon, or kind of right now. Next card is 3 Minuet. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but 3 cost, 2 power, 1 pink requirement. Not paying for itself is usually not that good, but it has eccentric X, where X is this card's power, so right now it has eccentric 2. And during the main phase, I can retire a friend to put a +1 power counter on this card. I'm going to be very rarely retiring my own friends. And that's the gist of the deck right there. I'm going to be using my opponent's friends and getting rid of them almost immediately to do funny stuff. Next card is 3 Berry Punch and Orange Swirl Drinking Buddies. 1 power, 1 cost. Once card enters play, gain control of an opponent's friend until the end of the score phase. This card is better than Sonata in this deck, at least in my opinion. Pretty simple stuff. Take control of my opponent's friend, and then get rid of it for Minuet or other fun cards. Next card is 3 F-Stop. 1 power, 2 cost, 2 white requirement. Doesn't pay for itself, but main phase exhaust this card and pay 1 to search your discard pile for an event and put it into your hand. Being able to reuse events in this deck is extremely important, as is in my next deck. F-Stop is a very common white card in Control. It's just really good. It's not a card I ever really thought about until I went up against another Control deck that used it and realized just how obnoxious it is to reuse events in Control decks. So the next 2 cards are cards to fill my white requirements. 3 Spike to the 9s and 2 Prim Hemlines. Now I really like Prim Hemline. 2 cost, 4 white power. No requirement. It more pays for itself. Only thing is that it can't contribute its power to confronting problems. But that's usually fine. It's only there to fix all my requirements. And I kind of need the 4 power. It's cost efficient. That said, I may need to change how I fix all my color requirements in this deck to utilizing some colorless friends, which we'll see later. The last friend in my deck is Photo Finish Seikase. I'm running 3 of it, 3 power, 3 cost, 3 white requirement. I'm hoping that this deck will control well enough to make it so that I can make use of Photo Finish. So if I can't, then this deck's dead on arrival. But at the end of each opponent's turn, if no problems were confronted this turn, you may score a point. If I can keep friends off my opponent's board, which is what this deck is built around doing, then I should be able to score 3 points at the end of every turn, which will accelerate my ability to win the game. So, next card we're going to look at is Rock, Paper, Scissors, Shoot. I'm running 3 of it. It's one of 2 showdowns ran in this deck. Start face-off involving one of your friends and opponent's friend with equal or greater power. At the end of the face-off, the loser dismisses one of their friends that was involved. Ignore that start a face-off involving one of your friends, because I'm never going to be doing that. I'm going to be always starting a face-off with an opponent's friend I just took control of, and one of their other friends. That way, there's no risk. They win the face-off, fine. They lose the card to control of. I win the face-off, I get rid of whatever card I targeted. Next card is 3 Catch Me, 1 cost, 3 peak requirement. Face off, retire one of your friends involved in the face off to dismiss an opposing friend involved in the face off. Yeah, again, like, if I play my showdown cards, I can just retire one of my friends or one of their friends to kill one of their friends. 1 cost, it's what this deck is going to be doing a lot of, hopefully. Now I'm running 2 Pinky's Epiphany. Choose 2, dismiss a friend with 2 or less power, play a friend from your discard pile into your hand, or pay 2 less for the next card you play this turn. This card is really good. I can reuse my own friends and make them cheaper. It can be another source of dismissal. Pinky's Epiphany is probably the best of the Epiphany cards that were released back in Absolute Discord. I don't know if you're going to really see them too often anymore, but I still love running them, especially this one. The next is 3 Belly Flops. It's a new card from the new set, and it is why I built this deck. 1 cost, retire friend to dismiss an opponent's friend. It's on immediate action. This card does the job of an old Pinkie Pie main without me having to run a slow Pinkie Pie main. I love Pinkie Pie, but the old main that used to do this job right here was really slow. Hopefully, I'm going to always have at least one of these in my hand whenever I play one of my game control effects. Because basically, like, let's say I pay 1 to play one of the friends that takes control of something. Okay, I paid 1 to use their effect to gain control of one of their friends. And I pay 1 more, that's 2. I retire that friend I just gained control of, and then dismiss one of the other friends. I just killed 2 friends for 2 cost. Or 3 if I have to use Pinky's Present. But, I don't have to worry about power. My opponent could be running. I could be trying to kill 2 friends with a lot of power or 2 friends with very little power. It's just a very cost-efficient way of doing it. Even if I have to use F-Stop to dig for this card, it is still really cost-efficient. I just have to have all the pieces. I'm running 3 Pinky's Present. It's another new card. Main phase, choose 1, draw 4 cards. Opponents need +2 to confront prompts until the start of your next turn, or can control an opponent's friend until the end of the score phase. Most times I'm going to be using either the draw 4 cards or the gain control effect. I'm running it as kind of my replacement for Let's Get This Party Started, I believe it was called, which will allow me to draw 3 cards. So I was really wanting to put that in here, just did not have the room for it. Not only that, but I also wanted an event that could take control of friends. Didn't have room for that either. So I'm hoping to combine both. Hopefully it'll test well. I'm running 3 Sunset Festivals. Now, this card may not even be needed. But what it does is reveal cards from the top of an opponent's deck until you reveal a friend. Put that friend into play under your control, then that opponent shuffles their deck. That's a pretty cool, pretty strong effect as is. I don't know if it's needed in this deck. Basically, the idea is if my opponent decides they're just going to play 1 friend every turn in order to get around my take control effects, because I can't really do much with their friends if they don't have another friend for me to target. Okay, fine. I'll just dig through their deck for a friend myself and go from there. At least that's the idea. I'm hoping it'll test really well. Could be just really fun, really lousy, but we'll have to see. The next event is 2 fashion weeks, 0 cost, big white requirement. Start a face-off involving one of your friends and an opponent's friend with equal or greater power. The winner of the face-off scores a point. I'm only running 2 because while I'm not gonna really care who wins these face-offs 90% of the time. I don't want my opponent to win a face-off and score a point, even if I'm still gonna get rid of their friends in the process. I just don't want that to happen. So I'm only running 2. This deck probably isn't going to have the best flip ratio. I don't know. But the last card in the deck is 3 Castle Friendships. I honestly don't think this card's very good. There's a lot of resource removal in the game. Resource removal is very important. But this is the only way I can gain action tokens in pink or white. At least that I can think of right now. Play it to my home. Main phase, I exhaust it to gain an action token. I don't know if this card's going to test well. It may be the first card to go. I really don't know. I don't care for it, but I'm going to try it. Because it would be nice to have action tokens. So some quick things about the deck. Right now, it has no way of dealing with orange. Orange counters this deck completely. Orange doesn't need to rely on friends to do what it wants to do, which is fill and farm. But even if I'm going up against orange decks that do use friends, they're going to use high-powered friends and this resource that protects those high-powered friends. Or I think there's friends in orange that protect high-powered friends. I can't do anything against orange. There is a card I could have ran to get rid of resources, but it was not cost efficient. It had a high cost in action tokens, and it required discarding cards. And especially since I'm running Sonata Dusk, I don't really want to be discarding cards, even if I can reuse them. So I decided against running it. But orange completely counters this deck. It's unfortunate. Maybe as I test, I can take out, say, Castle Friendship for 2. I can't remember what the card's called, but I'm pretty sure it's a flower of some kind that can get rid of resources and at least be able to do that. But even then, there just isn't a whole lot this deck will ever be able to do against orange. Most other decks it should do fine, though. Opposing control. Two control decks going up against each other is never fun. But opposing control is probably going to try to rely on Trollmakers, because it's probably going to be purple. And I have ways of getting rid of Trollmakers, but even then, if I have, I can keep their friends off the board and keep them from confronting problems. And I have Just Say Kase, or however you pronounce it. If I have that card out, I should be fine. Blue decks, they're going to be very fast, but any friends that they play are going to be gone by the next turn, hopefully. Yellow. Problem with yellow decks is that their cards are low powered, low cost, so it's not usually cost efficient to get rid of them. That being said, since I'm going to be trying to get rid of 2 cards with minimal cost, it might be fine. I don't know. The only deck I know that this deck will not be able to do anything against is orange, but against other decks it shouldn't do too bad. So on to the next deck. This deck is a purple-white deck. Its main is Princess Twilight Sparkle, Ambassador of Friendship. Probably one of the best mains in the game. If you go up against a purple deck, it's probably going to be running this main right here. When you put a card on top of your deck, turn this card over. This is a guaranteed turn 2 flip unless you're going up against pink. Period. Like there's, or I guess if you're going up against purple decks that run low cost cards that can move your main away from the problems. But I don't know necessarily how common that is. So I guess against purple and against pink, it may not be guaranteed turn 2 flip. But 9 times out of 10, it's guaranteed turn 2 flip. And on its flip side, if I have, I believe it just has to have a friend at home, I can exhaust her and gain an action token. And she has Meticulous, which allows me to look at the top of my deck. Excuse me. If you've played this game with recent sets and have played against Control, you've probably played against Princess Twilight Sparkle. Is I can't imagine that you wouldn't have. She's just really good. She allows you to look at the top of your deck and rearrange it, allowing you to more easily draw into cards you want or fix your face-offs or whatever. It's just really good. Next, I am running 2 Ancient Research as my starting problem. That might sound a bit weird, but just in case I run into pink and they get rid of my starting problem, hopefully I can flip another Ancient Research and be able to move there and get a turn 3 flip. Otherwise, it would suck if I ran into Ancient Research again after having flipped Twilight. But it's probably one of the best starting problems out there. It's a nice card. Being able to look at the top 2 cards of the deck and rearrange them is always nice. Next problem is 2 Overgrown Everfree. While Trollmakers have this problem, friends can't be played here. That's really good. Right now, the game kind of revolves around enters play effects. So being able to prevent my opponent from playing friends at that problem is nice. I wish the confirm requirement for my opponent was better, but not much I can do about that. The next prompt is halfway across Equestria, 2 of it. 10 confront requirement for my opponent, which is just amazing. At the start of face-off here, any face-off that includes Trollmaker face-offs, I get to move an opposing character. You do not know how obnoxious that is. If I play a Trollmaker to this problem and they have no way of getting rid of it outside face-offs, they might as well not even bother. I'm then running 2 the Trouble Trixie. When this card enters play, gain 1. Free action tokens. There's nothing more needs to be said. Free action tokens. And the last problem is blackmail. At the end of your opponent's turn, if no problems were confronted, well, you saw this last deck. Running 2 of it this time, because this deck, I believe, will do a bit better job in keeping my opponent from confronting problems, given the one thing that does suck is that there's a lot of Trollmaker removal out anymore, and I'm not running any villains, which are usually hard to get rid of. I prefer trying to control through basic Trollmakers. I think it's more fun, more rewarding. But we'll see what happens. I am running 2 Twilight Sparkle Ursa Vanquisher. This card isn't nearly as good as it once was, but I still like it a lot. 3 cost, 4 requirement. It's a really strong card. Has Studious, which it's not going to come into play too often, but it's nice. And then While this card is a problem, you may exhaust and put it into your hand. If you do, move up to 2 of your opponent's characters home. Moving 2 characters home, it makes it really hard for my opponent to do anything. Even with free movement, as long as I can keep my opponent from confronting problems, it's just, I've had games won just by having Twice Sparkle, Ursa Vanquisher, or 2, usually 2. Then I'm running 2 Truffle. This is an entry friend. Most times I shouldn't need entry, so that's why I'm only running 2 Truffle. But when an opponent moves a character, you may exhaust this card at game 1. I usually run the Absolute Discord Sunset Shimmer as my purple entry. But I'm going to Truffle this time. They're both good. Both kind of do the same thing. They gain you action tokens. I consider Sunset Shimmer stronger, but I'm going to Truffle because I don't want to discard cards. I'm running 3 Princess Twilight Sparkle cover to cover. If you've ever played against purple, you've seen this card in 3. This card is a must-have in purple. Which, by the way, I know that there are some probably must-have white cards that I'm missing in not just my last deck, but this deck as well. Room is hard. But meticulous at the start of your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck and put on either the top or the bottom of your deck. Prepared when an opponent starts to face off here, game 1, and then exhaust this card to game 1. You're probably never going to utilize prepared. Most players are going to not cause face-offs wherever this thing's at unless they're absolutely necessary. And it's not always easy to cause that. And most times it seems like Princess Twilight Sparkle ends up being played at home because, I mean, all it's doing is gaining action tokens, so I don't need to confront anything. And that's the card I can have at home so that I can constantly gain action tokens off of Twilight, off of my main. But you never know what card could come in handy. Meticulous is a great ability. And gaining action tokens for this thing, just by exhausting it, is amazing. Like, 2 costs, 3 purple requirement kind of sucks, and 0 purple power really sucks. But you pay 2 to play it, and then you exhaust it and gain 1 back. So it becomes a 1 cost friend basically for that turn, and the next turn you've already paid for it with free action tokens. And from there on out, it's just a gain. It's amazing. I'm running 2 F-stops in this deck. I think I took out 1 to make room. Don't remember. Same reason why it was in my last deck. Reusing events is really good. And this deck, I will have more than enough action tokens the vast majority of the time. Or at least I should. Photo finish, say Kase. Again, same reason why it's in my last deck. If I can control the board well enough, I'll get 3 points. Next card is, I believe, the only actually new card in this deck. It's a little unfortunate I'm not running any more new cards. But 2 power, purple and white, and 2 cost, and 1 purple and white requirement. If I were running a specific prompt, this could be my entry, but I'm not because I need to have that free turn 2 flip. But when this card is played, you may play Trollmaker from your discard pile into play face up. This is kind of the reason why I want to build this deck. Being able to reuse my Trollmakers. Now, vast majority of the time, I will hopefully never have to dig through my discard pile for a Trollmaker. but there's one that I may have to more times than not, and it's gonna be really cool. Then for my entry, I'm running Kevin at 3 and the Smooth at 2. I should probably run these two as my entry in my pink white deck as well, but maybe as I test things, I'll see if when I can afford the 4 cost for the Smooths. But both of them, when they interplay, I call color and they become that color. So if I need purple, I can make them purple, and if I need white, I can make them white. The Smooths is nice because I can change its color whenever I need to, if I ever need to. I kind of wish they'd do more with colorless friends than just making them entry like they've been doing. But I guess it's nice to have more options. Next up, events. I'm running 2 Kitty Pox Scare, a very obnoxious card, 3 cost, 2 per requirement. Reaction: after the start of a score phase, move all characters at a problem home. Basically, if my opponent can't get rid of Trollmakers, and I have this card in my hand, I can prevent them from ever having any friends at their starting or at whatever problem they have a Trollmaker at. And there'll be nothing they can really do. K-Pop Scare is a really, really good card. It's still really strong, I feel. I don't know that it's necessarily as strong as it once was, but it's still a good card. Next, I'm running 3 Interdimensional Portal, 2 cost. Immediate banish a friend and put that friend into play. I can reuse any card I have that has interest play effect, which I don't think is that many in here. But otherwise, it's another good way of controlling the board. My opponent tries to do something, and I can just immediately bash and put it into play somewhere else, just keeping it from doing whatever they were trying to do with it. Next, I'm running 3 Nap Cakes. Immediate play friend with 2 or less power on top of its owner's deck. I don't know how good that card's going to be in here. It's generally a pretty good card. Being able to put friends on top of the owner's deck is always annoying, but I don't know. I think it'll be fine, but it may not be that strong in here. I may need to put something else in its place. Next, I'm running 2 Special Beam Cans, Banish Resource. Like I said, having resource removal is really important. There are a lot of really powerful resources in the game. I'm running 1 in this deck. And I usually only run 2 of any of my counter cards, like Special Beam Cannon, because I don't want to draw into them if my opponent doesn't have a resource, or if I'm running a counter to Trollmakers so they don't have a Trollmaker. Unless I'm running pink and I'm playing 3 Snips and Snails. That's the only counter card that I'd play at 3, generally. It's my playstyle. What can I say? Next, I'm running 2 Star Soul Research, 0 cost, 7 power, immediate. Put this card on top of your deck. This card can be a good way of flipping my main if it absolutely comes to that. It can be a good way of winning Trollmaker face-offs if my opponent ever tries to have a Trollmaker face-off. I think you see a decent amount in purple, and you can do a lot with it. This deck isn't going to do quite as much with it as others would, and that might be a bad thing. I don't know. I may end up replacing it for something else, but having a 7 power flip is nice, and being able to use it to flip my main is also nice. Next, I'm running 3 Sneak Attack. 1 cost. Search your deck for a Troublemaker, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This will allow me to search for whatever Troublemaker I want and use it. And playing Trollmakers from my hand is going to be just as important as getting that free play off of my one friend. Could probably tweak the deck a little bit to make it even more important. I don't know. But still, in a Trollmaker control deck, if I don't draw into Trollmakers I want to, this will be nice to have. Excuse me. Next, I'm running 3 Study Session. Play to your home, opposing friends enter play exhausted. This card is basically my way of countering opposing pink with Snips and Snails. Since I'm not running the Trixie villain, if my opponent plays Snips and Snails at part of the Trollmaker, they'll be able to immediately get rid of it. Study Session makes it so that they can't use the effect that turn, and I can then play my event to banish their Snips and Snails again, putting it back to play exhausted, and just keep them from ever being able to utilize that Snips and Snails. So I haven't ran this card in too many purple decks, even though I really should. It's a really good card. But in this deck, I feel like it's an absolute must. Next, I'm running 3 Spike, 7, 0 point bonus. When this card is uncovered, an opponent may pay 2 to dismiss this card. Doing so does not defeat the Strawmaker. Spike's kind of a weird one. When you play it and uncover it, if you don't time it well, like if your opponent has action tokens to pay, then they very well may pay to get rid of it. And given that's not necessarily a bad thing, getting rid of your opponent's action tokens means they don't have as many action tokens to use to play whatever they want to play that turn. But then you don't have your really powerful 7-power Trollmaker at Braum to protect it. And this deck, I don't necessarily care because I can bring it back into play face up with my one friend, and by doing so, they can't do anything about it outside of getting rid of it with one of their Trollmaker hate cards or trying to confront it. Which, trying to confront a 7-power Trollmaker is never fun. Unless you're playing orange. Next, I'm playing 3 Masterpiece. It has 5 power, 0 point bonus. Trollmakers can't be uncovered here. It's good against Villain Farm. And that's basically it. I'd consider it a pretty decent Trollmaker. I wish it had more power, but 5 power ain't bad. And the last card in the deck is Dull Diamond Starlight's Lackey. It has 6 power. While a player has at least 4 cards in their hand, that player can't draw cards during their main phase. This makes Pink cry, because Pink likes to draw all the time, all game long. They like to draw to flip their main. This card can prevent them from flipping their main if it's played early enough. And, well, it probably isn't going to stop them from flipping their main, but you never know. Either way, it keeps them from drawing, which means they slow down tremendously. It keeps you from drawing too, but that's fine. You're playing a slow game anyways. You don't care. Meanwhile, Pink is probably going to want to play a little bit faster because they can. So, and 6 power is great, and as you can see, none of these Trollmakers give any points whatsoever. It is worthless for your opponent to even attempt to get rid of them. and they're going to have a hard time doing. Hopefully, they'll have a hard time doing so. The only thing I can't really do anything about is events that get rid of trollmakers, and there are some friends that get rid of trollmakers just by straight play. So it's not guaranteed that I'll be able to keep these trollmakers out all the time. Being able to use them though is nice. I only run 9. I can search them out. I actually feel like this deck could do a bit better against most other decks than my pink white can. Because I do have some anti-movement, or well, I do have ways of stopping movement in here, or I have ways of moving my opponent's cards. um, Both decks are untested, and once I do test them, I can see what cards I don't need, and can replace them with staples that could help. Like, neither deck runs Standstill, and I'd like to run Standstill in both, especially in this deck, because it's one of very few ways of dealing with free movement. I'd kind of like to run Twilight's Epiphany in here. It's a card that can move stuff away and draws cards. And I'd like to run, I believe it's Octavia Harsh Judge in both decks. But right now I just do not have the room in either. Might get around to testing them. Hopefully I'll find some cards I don't need, and we'll be able to run them. But that's really it. I feel like both decks should be pretty straightforward. One deck controls the board by trying to get rid of my opponent's friends, by using them as ammunition, or eating them with Minuet. And the other deck tries to control the board through trollmakers. The one weakness that, say, my purple white deck has is dilemmas. If my opponent absolutely needs to, they can play dilemmas to get around my lock. And there are some good dilemmas that opponents are going to want to play. But there isn't a whole lot I can do about that right now. It's a little unfortunate. I really don't like dilemmas. It's part of why I didn't like last set. I feel like dilemmas almost kill Trollmaker control decks. I don't think you've really seen Trollmaker control too much. But whenever I get a chance to test these decks, I'll see how they do. I do plan on testing them on Octagon at some point. Octagon is a program that allows you to play against others in just about any card game. That's where I do most of my card game playing. Where I do all of it, actually. I do buy the cards, but there's nobody around here that plays the game, so it doesn't do me a whole lot of good, unfortunately. But I don't know when I'll get a chance to test either deck. I could have played a game tonight if I really wanted to, but I didn't. And I have work the rest of the week, so I may not get around to testing either deck until Wednesday night. Maybe earlier, depending on how busy the week is. Or maybe I won't get just test decks until Thursday if Wednesday ends up being obnoxious. Excuse me. But whenever I do get a chance to test both decks, I might try to record the games. So they generally go on for a long time. So I don't know if I'll do that yet. But until whenever, um, hope y'all have a good night and see you in whatever the next video is, whenever it is.